Okay, hello everyone. I'm so happy to be joined with Lydia today. She is one of our Faces of Raw Ceuticals and product review panelist. And so just to get to know Lydia a little bit more moving forward, Lydia, tell us a little bit about yourself, any information you wish to share from your own personal perspective.
Okay, my name is Lydia and I'm married to Aaron. We have three kids and one on the way. Yeah, and I'm a high school English teacher actually. I've been doing that for, gosh, it's been 14 plus years now. And I also teach college freshmen. And everything's online, so I'm lucky enough to be at home with my children. And I've tried to be a runner, and now I'm sort of slowing down on that with the whole pregnancy thing, but I'm still trying. And otherwise, I'm seeking the healthiest lifestyle I can find. I did have some Doritos today, but I have to give the baby what the baby wants. I am trying my best to get as healthy as I can and to learn as much as I can about the easiest and most effective ways to do that.
Wow, first of all, congratulations. I had no idea you were expecting. That's great.
Thank you.
And secondly, as far as in terms of natural and clean living, is this something you've were grown up with, or as you became an adult, or became, everybody's got like either a moment in time where they got sick, or they had a dietary allergy, or they had got pregnant and just saw the chemicals. Can you kind of share with us maybe a certain time in your life, or how you've evolved with your natural and green living?
Sure. I grew up with a mom who, I don't know that I would necessarily describe her as green, but she was conscious of things. And so, we grew up in a household where artificial dyes were not allowed in our foods, and she was all about just, the basics, the vegetables, and making sure we had the balanced meal. So I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. And then I started having children, and with my first child, um, I did nurse, and so then I started kind of learning about the different ways that my body would affect her body. And then when I got pregnant with my second child, I was a bit older. He was 6 years later. So not only was I older, but social media and all of the things you can read about right there at the tips of your fingers were there. So I was reading all these things about what could affect my baby while I'm pregnant. So I was way better with him than I was with her. I had grown up, and I was a little more knowledgeable about what it meant to be pregnant and so on. So that's kind of where it started, was with him. I knew I wasn't comfortable pregnant with her. I got too big too quickly. So I had decided, the next time I wanted to be a marathon runner. Well, that didn't happen, but I did know that I wanted to be healthier. So I started on that trail to be healthier. And with each progressing, or with each pregnancy from there on, I've just been healthier and healthier and healthier. But right after having my third child, I really, really wanted to get in shape, and I wanted to detox our house. So I did join that boot camp which is how I met you, and that's where I started learning about all of the horrible chemicals that were in the things in my house and the foods that we were feeding our children, and the little things like I didn't realize the whole fragrances could mean any number of ridiculous chemicals. So, those were some of the light bulbs that went off as I was learning. And then I started learning about essential oils, and so I do actually, just as a disclaimer, I do sell essential oils, so that was something else that when I started really playing with that, I started learning, oh my gosh, I can make my own cleaning things, or I can make my own face wash or something like that. So just knowing that there were cleaner and more non-toxic ways to do things for my family.
Well, you've touched on so many subjects. I could probably go off onto 20 or 30 minutes on each question, and that's what I love about the panel. But you are speaking from a wife and a mom to babies, and evolving through that. I mean, we have 4 children, so I can relate to so many things. But let me ask you this question, and it's going to be twofold. One, have you found it easy to do things yourself, like with cleaning, maybe some personal care, and express some of the frustrations maybe that you have found from a mom and just even from an individual in the availability of products, maybe pricing, etc., as far as making better choices.
The ease of making my own things has gotten better as my children have gotten older because I've had more time. You know, when they're so little and you having to chase them everywhere. So that's not a very good excuse, but that is my explanation as to why I haven't been able to really focus on that. And, you know, like just 2 days ago, we had permanent marker on the floor, and how was I going to get that off? So I looked it up, and I used an oil to do that, and it cleaned it right up. So, you know, those little things that it's just sort of I have to find the time because I'm also working. So when am I going to find the time to take the time? But I did make my own deodorant because I was determined that I was going to detox that part of my skincare procedure. And that was one of the biggest things that I learned from you and from some of the other people that were part of that detox was start small. You know, don't try to completely eradicate everything in your house because you're not going to be successful. So I've started with small things. I started with my deodorant. I did some my shampoos. I haven't made my own shampoo, but I have found some shampoos that are clean, which leads to your next question. It is hard to find economically priced items for your family. There are some local drugstores that are starting to carry their, they are supported by the Healthy Child, Healthy World group, and so to know that those are clean and good for me to use and good for my babies to use is nice, and they're, I would say, economically priced, a little bit more expensive. But that's, for me, the hardest part is the expense. And then also I live kind of in the sticks, if you will, so getting somewhere that is easy is hard, and then it is also kind of frightening to just order something online and assume it's going to be fine. So I appreciate companies that offer samples, that offer a chance to try it for a lower price so that you know what works and what doesn't work. But I would say that's the hardest, probably, is the expense and knowing whether or not to trust it.
In terms of, and wow, thank you. That was like a wealth of information. I think I want to have a little side segment of some of your tips as a mom, because you brought up 2 points. One was time with little ones, or even just time with work. Some of our customers don't necessarily have children, but we're just busy and they want to make their own, but they don't really have any direction. And it seems like we're inundated with all these how-tos, but it's gotten to a point where who can you trust? Like, what tips can you really trust? And what online sites can you trust to buy from? I mean, it's become as big as the awareness has been, finding the trust and then finding the tips that really do work, like baking soda and vinegar, and showcasing that. And I would love to get your feedback on some of the essential oils you've used to remove stains. You know, these are questions we get asked all the time because I tend to make a lot of my own cleaning, and some things I can't seem to find a balance without using either like a bleach or something chemical to remove it. And it's like,
Right.
even for our own family, there is still a balance. And then, you know, being pregnant, I bet your senses are just even that much more aware. You know, bringing another baby into this world, into what we're doing. Now that brings me to diet. How has, well, it's 2 questions because we want to get into skin and how diet has affected your skin, but have you noticed or made any dietary changes through your journey or through the years that have helped, that you have noticed has made you feel better and healthier?
Yes. Yes. When I was nursing my third child, so the current baby, he was having, you know, output that was a strange color. So I assumed that it was because of something I was eating. So I started dropping different things to see what it might be. Well, his output never changed, but my skin changed when I stopped eating anything milk related. So I pretty much gave up milk and cheese and yogurt, anything like that, for a good long time, and mostly it was because my face, I mean, my face just changed. I always used to get really bad zits, right along my jawline, and the really, really deep ones. And once I stopped that milk, it was like they were gone. And I mean, granted, I am getting older, so I recognize my adolescence is probably getting out of my system, but at the same time, it was just amazing, the change. And if I were to have a lot of milk for about a week, which I've done because I go on binges where I just really need to have cereal, then I see a marked difference. Now, I can still have ice cream, and that's my biggest need at night is a bowl of ice cream, and I still have that at night, and it's fine. I haven't really noticed. Maybe my skin would be better if I didn't have that bowl of ice cream, but I only slowly worked that back into my diet. So kind of weird about cheese. I only do that if I'm just having a serious craving or we're having Mexican food or something. Milk, I just in general don't drink it. Also, I had my gallbladder out back in like 2003, so there are only certain things that I can eat that don't rip up my stomach. I gave up soda. It's been almost 3 years since I drank soda on a regular basis, and that also cleaned my skin, and I just felt way better. Now, I will admit that in the last week, I don't know what's going on. I guess it's the second trimester is hitting me now, and so I just want everything. So I have had a couple sodas here and there, but nothing like I used to. I used to drink Dr. Pepper like it was going out of style, and now I'm sorry, my light keeps going off. But anyway, so yeah, the soda thing, that has helped my weight and my skin, and my bowels, to be perfectly honest. I mean, without a gallbladder, you don't digest things the way most people do. And so if I have a soda, there's a distinct difference in the way that I digest my food, for sure.
Yeah, and you bring up, I mean, dairy seems to be the number one inflammatory violator that we're finding. And it's like, it's almost, you know, doctors aren't really telling us this. You're hearing it from holistic practitioners, but it's inflammatory.
Yeah.
And I learned a long time ago when we were first working with formulas, when I was in my kitchen before I even thought about selling a product, I was working on my acne, that cow dairy has a large chain of fatty acids and doesn't ever fully digest in anybody's system. We were never really meant, it was brought over to traditionally to this country because cows produce more milk than goats, and so there's a big history behind that. But like goat milk, and then the safer milks like almond, coconut. I avoid soy now because of the GMO and just so many contradictions with the soy. But when I read these scientific studies on dairy, I had pulled it out from our diet, and I've noticed just with my kids at school, like if now they take their lunches to school, but if they'll drink milk or get any dairy, or if we go through a period of time where they're having ice cream and stuff, you can almost see the dehydration in their face, or just it makes them more sluggish. And so I don't, that's one of the first things we recommend when you're dealing with acne or topical skin rashes is when you're working internally, elimination of dairy. And when you say that almost automatically cleared up that acne, I absolutely believe that.
Yeah, it was wicked. It was crazy. I didn't want to believe it because I really like milk.
Yeah. No, I did too. When I was first pregnant, I was drinking like a gallon of milk a day, it seemed like at first. And there's a lot of healthier ways that you can get vitamin D and the calcium into your body. You don't have to have all the milk. But anyway, so dealing with skin in general, and maybe you can share with us now, pregnancy can do a lot of crazy things to your skin, but as a whole, what have been some of your skin concerns, and maybe presently being pregnant, what are you experiencing or not experiencing as far as that is concerned?
Well, ever since pimples could be an issue for me, so we're talking 11, 12 years old and on, they have been an issue for me. They're somewhere around my junior year of high school, I gave up everything except water and Sprite, actually. So I gave up everything that had any kind of coloring in it, and my skin was really clear when I was, 16 years old. And then for whatever reason, I didn't figure that back out again until just recently. So acne's just always been an issue. And then ever since I got pregnant with Well, no, it was a little bit before my pregnancy with my second child. I've had the melasma, the pregnancy mask, where my skin has been discolored. And so it's gotten better because I think just I've been taking care of, like I said, I've gotten smarter with each pregnancy. So I think I'm taking care of myself better, and I put better products on my skin. I'm not using as harsh a product on there to clean or to, I don't use much makeup anyway. But so that is kind of embarrassing if I don't have like something on it, and I go out in the sun, it'll turn really dark, especially over my lip. It looks kind of like I have a mustache, and then it looks on the side sometimes like I've cried and wiped half my makeup off, and so I'll have dark on this side and dark here, but it's white, but that's just my skin. So that's another issue with the pregnancy right now. I haven't noticed anything really different. Again, all the products I use on my face are completely either natural or clean. So I'm thinking that's the difference this time.
So, and I love what you're saying, because inadvertently through each pregnancy, you've made better changes. So now this is your fourth pregnancy, right?
Right.
And so with this one, it's almost like you're describing that you just feel more balanced. So your
Right.
skin is not wreaking havoc. Overall, you're feeling pretty good from that perspective. So the changes you've made, the small changes, have added up to where this pregnancy is going maybe even that much better than the prior three for
Right.
you. And that's the beauty of making slow changes, because the one
Hmm.
thing and you've heard me say this, and I have said this, and I've been a broken record, is that we can't change overnight. I mean, it was not, it went from me solving acne to putting products together to just over the past few years, and then now going through cancer and just realizing how the chemicals had affected my body to make the changes, because you can't just wake up and throw everything away and start from scratch. You can't just wake
Right.
up and, we've got lives and everything, so it's all in balance. But I do believe that we can commit to making changes and making those small changes, and that's what, we're trying to encourage. It's not that you can't make them all at once, but like you said, and you're describing beautifully, I slowly began doing this, this, and this,
Hmm.
and now you're just feeling on a better path, and that's great. So how did you hear about Roskin Ceuticals?
Well, the campaign that I was in, the detox campaign, was with Momovation.com, and you were a panelist on one of our shows, which was about skincare and replacing your chemically laden um, or chemical laden products with natural products. And so that's how I heard about Roskin Ceuticals. And then I had you come on a show later when I took over the show, and then I started ordering. So that's how I learned about Roskin Ceuticals.
Now, what products are you using now? I think you've tried a few things,
Mhm.
skincare, and I don't know if we've gotten you started on our makeup or not. I can't remember.
Yeah, I have used. I got some samples of the BB cream, which I really liked, and then I couldn't find it on the site, so I have some other stuff that I'm using right now. But then you emailed me back, so I know it's there. I just haven't ordered it. And then I love, love, love the liquid eyeliner. Ridiculously easy to put on. It stays on all day, and I use it's the black one. I don't remember what it's called, but just a really nice way that it stays on. I have to let it dry for a second, but then when it's on, it doesn't smear. And then I have used the cleansing regimens. So I have tried the acne one, and I liked it, but then I wasn't sure if neem was okay with pregnancy, so I switched over. I had a sampling of the like the regular normal to oily skincare regimen. So I actually
Yes.
need to order some more of that. So that's what I've been using. I've washed my face with that.
Now, the raw neem seed oil should be fine
Okay.
for pregnancy. And then we don't use essentials in any of the bases. Those are the things you need to watch out for.
Right.
But I always tell all pregnant mommies, do what you're comfortable with. But all of our entire line, except for our Bodyceuticals, if you've got some sensitivities to essential oils and things to be careful with, should be safe for use during pregnancy. But your skin is not, from at least from my standpoint, needing to deal with the heavy acne products anyways. So,
Right.
and I'm so glad to hear your feedback on the eyeliner. That's great. That's a new relaunch for us. So we're actually sending that out as part of some of the first panelists' reviews. So I'm glad you like that. It is. It does go on and stay
Yeah.
once it's on.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Well, I think we've kind of answered the question as far as how did you apply to become a panelist. And honestly, I'm just blessed to have you with us. I love your perspective and point of view because you're speaking for mainstream America. I mean, you're the mom that has been surrounded with learning and growing through discovering. And I don't know if you have a blog or something I would love to
I
attach
do.
to your panel, because some of your tips and things I think would be really helpful, like on the cleaning. And I would love to know which oil you use to get out the marker. So we would definitely welcome that. I'm going to go ahead and